you doing, guys? And welcome back to TSTV. Oh, goodness me. I mean, what did we watch on Friday night? It was absolutely appalling. I mean, I might as well have just put out my recording from after the FA Cup defeat to Brighton the previous week. The only problem with that is it was actually even worse on Friday. Losing 3-0, not having a shot on target, just absolutely appalling what we saw. I was hoping for a reaction. I think everyone was. It was very hard to feel positive going into this game after what we saw in the FA Cup. But you always, as a football fan, you always want to be optimistic. You always look forward to the next game, regardless of how you're playing. You always want to hope that it's going to be, a better performance. The players are going to show more fight, more vigour, more desire. And it was just the absolute antithesis of that. It was even worse. Players walking around, giving up as soon as the second goal went in. I mean, to be honest, they gave up really after the first goal went in. I know we had a disallowed goal through Enzo Fernandez, which maybe was a little harsh, but we got absolutely everything we deserved out of that game. We actually started okay, started on the front foot, had a couple of half chances, didn't really create anything. As soon as Noni Madueke goes off after about 20 minutes, all threat that we had just completely dissipated. Now, Noni, again, he's no world beater, right? But he is one of our most threatening wingers. And it's just another injury to add to the pile-up of injuries we're getting in the attacking third of the pitch. We now at the moment have 4 senior fit attackers. And those are Jadon Sancho, Christopher Nkunku, Cole Palmer and Pedro Neto. And where are the goals? Where are the goals going to come from? I have absolutely no idea. And we looked like we had absolutely no clue how to penetrate Brighton after that. There was no penetrating runs, from inside the fullback or the centre halves. There was no one looking to break with any real intensity. As Jamie Carragher said in commentary, it was tippy-tappy football at its worst. And that is one thing I just cannot stand watching. And I don't think it's something that any Chelsea fan can stand watching. Because we want players that are going to fight, that are going to go into battle, that are going to, win their challenges, that are going to play with intensity, that know what it means to play for this football club. This tippy-tappy nonsense, that doesn't wash with us. It doesn't get us anywhere. It doesn't get any team anywhere. Man City used to be able to get away with it because they had David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, they had Sergio Aguero up front, Phil Foden, all these players that were able to do it, but also actually do it quickly and with a purpose of penetrating the opposition. It was just passing for passing's sake. And something has to change. Something has to change. Enzo Maresca has to adapt at this moment in time because what he's currently doing is not working. And again, I'm not calling for him to go because, quite frankly, there are bigger problems at the club right now. The sporting directors, the owners, I'll come on to them more in just a second. He's been completely undermining the transfer market. But you've got to work with what you have at your disposal. And he's had a full week this week. There was no midweek game to try and get a reaction out of this group. And it was even worse. It was the sort of performance we've seen many times when the players have down tools and they've given up on the manager. Is that the case at the moment? I'm not quite sure. I don't think they've totally given up on the manager. I think they're just playing with such lack of confidence. They pretty much know that without a centre-forward, no Nicholas Jackson, that we've got absolutely no chance of hurting the opposition going back the other way. And look, as I mentioned last week, Nicholas Jackson, he's not been prolific recently. He's not been scoring goals. But he does link up very, very well with Cole Palmer. And what he is able to do, he's able to stretch the game. So when he makes a run in behind or into the channel, it actually frees up space for your midfielders like Cole Palmer. But at the moment, that space is just completely congested because everything's in front of the opposition. So Enzo Maresca has to find a way to adapt because I have absolutely no confidence going to any game at this moment in time with this current setup that we could score a goal, get a point, win a game. We've got Southampton and Leicester coming up at home in 2 of our next 3 fixtures. I can't with any confidence say we're going to win those games because who's going to be hurting the opposition? Who's going to be stretching the game? Who's going to be making sure that there's a presence in the box when the ball actually eventually does come in, which it hasn't been at the moment. It's very, very poor. It was absolutely unacceptable what we saw on Friday. And again, I feel sorry for those fans that have travelled up there again, given up their Valentine's Day evening. I'm sure pretty much everyone that was in that away end would much rather be having a nice meal with their boyfriend, their girlfriend, whatever, their husband, their wife. But they had to watch this rubbish. They had to watch players going through the motions, giving up. And that is one thing that I cannot accept, giving up. Now, you can lose football matches. You can play against a better team one day. You can be unlucky in a game. For example, I know Trevor Chalobah should probably do better with the ball over the top, but Matoma's goal was world class, fantastic touch, great finish. You lose to a goal like that and you're, hitting the bar, hitting the post, the keeper's making saves, you're getting unlucky. Sometimes these things happen in football. You have to get on with it. You have to swallow it. But to just see another complete capitulation, it is just totally, totally unacceptable. And the sporting directors, the owners, they need to carry the can for this. There needs to be some accountability now, because this cannot go on much longer. We're 6th now, yeah? So we're 1 point off top 4. We will be nowhere near top 4 come the end of the season because of the way they've comprised this squad. How can it be one injury to Nicholas Jackson, who isn't exactly, a prolific striker, completely derails everything? We've got a holding midfielder in Romeo Lavia. We've got 2 fit midfielders, and I don't count Kin and Dewsbury Hall because, quite frankly, he's useless. And Maresca doesn't even trust him to play in that position. But we've got 2 fit midfielders. The other midfielder that we have is Romeo Lavia, and he's never fit. He comes on for half an hour in a game, and he has to go off injured. It's a joke. It is an absolute joke. And we didn't even recall one of the midfielders we had in our books. Andre Santos, Leslie Ugochukwu. We couldn't even help the team without signing a player. It's ridiculous. And then you go to the attacking third of the pitch. Even before the window started, we all knew that we needed help for Nicholas Jackson and another prolific attacker that can help chip in with goals and be that striker that can either push Jackson or take his place. But no, we did nothing. We actually weakened the squad because now Mudrik's out. So we don't know when he's going to be back. We've loaned João Felix out after signing him for 45 million. What an absolute waste of time. We've now lost Nicholas Jackson and Mark Guiu to injuries, as well as Noni Madueke. So that's 5 attackers gone. We lost 5 attackers. And now we're going to have the same 4 attacking players, essentially for the next 8 to 10 weeks, maybe for the rest of the season. The only backup to that is Tyreek George, who's a kid. And he came on and he gave it a go, but he's a kid, he's learning, he's being thrust into this position where he's probably going to have to play a lot more minutes than he's ready to do so. It's unacceptable. From the top down, that's where the issues are. And again, this is why I'm not calling for Maresca's head. If he went at the end of the season and we don't finish top 4, okay, cool, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But there needs to be changes at the top as well. Because what we're seeing right now is a football club that's being run into the ground. And people laugh and they say, oh yeah, you spent all this money, blah, 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 blah. But look at where that's money's gone. Look at where that's money's gone. We don't have a spine in this team. So many of these players we've signed are young kids that are probably never even going to play for us. It's a moot point. The money that's been spent doesn't equate to what we're actually seeing on the pitch. And that is the issue. And they refuse to change. Now, there's talks of a protest against getting rid of Clearlake or BLUECO or whatever. I think BLUECO is the actual official company name that kind of comprises Clearlake and Todd Bowley and the sporting directors. So there's a protest plan for before the Southampton game. Now, sometimes these protests get called and barely anyone turns up. I think there is actually genuine momentum now that something needs to change before it becomes completely broken. At the moment, we're seeing Tottenham fans protest ahead of the Man United game this weekend because they've had enough. And what we don't want to get to a stage is where it's too late. The damage is irreparable. At the moment, if change is implemented quickly, we can probably just about get back on solid footing in a reasonably quick amount of time. But change does need to happen. We need to make our voices heard now. We need to show that even if they don't leave immediately, because again, these are £1 billion worth of transactions, right? It's difficult to just happen overnight. But a change to the strategy, sign experienced players to come in and help the team, help the manager out on the training pitch, in the dressing room, on the field when things aren't going well. Someone that's going to turn around to Levi Colwill, who again was pathetic in this game, but he needs help. Turn around and say, look, that is not acceptable to go down so meekly in a challenge like that and to just not get up, not run back. Where are the leaders? It needs to change. Change needs to happen now. It needs to happen now. You either sell up or you change the strategy. You get rid of the two Muppets that are running the show on the footballing side. You bring someone else in that knows what they're doing. And again, you mix this signing young players, signing exciting world-class talent potential, with also signing ready-made players that can come in and help us now. Readdress the balance, because the balance is not there at this moment in time. So I want change. I think everyone wants change, and I know there's a lot of people out there that thinks, protests are a bit cringy or corny. Fine, that's up to you, but I think something has to give now. Whether it's, protests outside the ground, season ticket holders, holding a mass walkout at some point, because we can already see things are getting worse, and they're going to get even more worse over time if we just let this go unchecked. A message needs to be sent that what we're seeing on the pitch, what we're seeing off the pitch, the pathetic briefings that we're seeing every week. At the start of the season, it was we need to get into the top four, we want to get into the Champions League. Now it's, we don't need to get there for another 2 years. It's pathetic. They think we're stupid. So I want to see change, whether that's the owners out or whether that's them getting rid of Winstanian Stewart and having a slight change of strategy. You don't have to change completely everything. I'm happy signing young players, but it needs to be alongside experienced, proven quality that can help the team and the manager now. But yeah, it's infuriating, and I think a lot of people are at the end of their tether now. So obviously there's a game next Saturday against Aston Villa. I have absolutely zero confidence that we can go there and score a goal, let alone get a result. And this is a Villa team that just drew 1-1 at home to 10-man Ipswich, who were winning with about 10 minutes to go. I have zero confidence that we can get anything out of that game, and that's where we are right now. There doesn't really seem to be any hope. I'm not looking forward to the end of the season. The Conference League, which seemed like a gimme, we've barely got an 11 for the Premier League. Those players are going to have to play in the Conference League. And with the way we're going right now, would it be a shock that we didn't win that competition and went out? It wouldn't be to me. So yeah, anyway, look, that's it from me. Winstanian Stewart out, Clearlake out, or change. Yeah, I'm very downbeat after this, very angry. But let's see what next week brings. I'll be back for another match preview next week for Aston Villa. It probably won't be sunshine and rainbows, but look, hopefully a week in the sun, because I'm going away for a few days in the week, helping lighten my mood a little bit. I'll see you guys later.